I barely brushed Shelby Crane's arm when the elevator doors slid open, a small, accidental nudge as I tried to squeeze past the morning crowd. It was nothing, just the kind of clumsy moment anyone could laugh off. Shelby did not laugh. She turned slowly, eyes sweeping over me the way someone checks an expiration date. "Careful." "Marin," she said, her voice cutting through the cramped space. "You're an antique. The place you belong is a museum." A few people glanced down at their shoes. No one said anything. They never did when Shelby spoke like that. I felt heat rise up my neck, but I forced myself to breathe. "It was an accident," I said quietly. "Accidents happen when people get outdated." Shelby stepped out of the elevator, heels clicking like a warning. "Try to keep up." I followed her into the hallway, trying not to let her words sink deeper than they already had. 15 years at North Atlantic Logistics, and she still acted like I was a burden she had been forced to drag along. She stopped at my desk without turning. "Come with me." My stomach tightened. I closed my laptop and walked behind her to the small conference room. She pushed a folder across the table the moment I sat down. "Your termination documents," she said. "Sign them. Then hand over the controls to the scheduling system." For a moment, I could not speak. "Shelby." "What are you talking about?" "I have never missed a forecast. I have never." "You have never adapted," she snapped. "This company does not need relics. It needs efficiency." I stared at the paperwork. 15 years. 15 years reduced to a stack of pages she wanted me to sign without a word. Shelby leaned back, satisfied. "You can leave after you surrender the system. I already told the team you are stepping down gracefully." My vision tightened at the edges. Gracefully meant quietly, invisibly, as if I had never been here at all. Then a voice came from the doorway, calm, steady, unmistakably in control. "I am afraid I do not agree." I looked up, and everything in the room shifted toward what came next. "I am afraid I do not agree." That voice froze Shelby. It jolted me somewhere deeper. I knew that tone, even if I had never heard it directed at me before someone used to being listened to. "Director Wolf," Shelby said quickly. "We were just finalizing a transition." "We will come back to that," he replied. "For now, I would like to understand why you are firing the person who built the only scheduling system that has not crashed once in 15 years. 15 years. The words dug under my skin and pulled up every memory I had tried to bury under polite smiles and late nights. "Marin, can you stay late?" It was my first winter. A snowstorm had wiped out half the night shift. "We will lose half the outbound trucks." The old manager, Lewis, had muttered. "We will not," I had said. "Move Portland to the end of the line, send Bangor early, and flip the overnight priority. I will reroute the manifests." The next morning, Lewis clapped my shoulder. "You saved us. By the afternoon." The email blast read, "Great job, Shelby, on keeping us running through the storm. Age is not the issue," Shelby said now. "Performance is." Another voice from the past slid in. "Marin, I hope you do not mind training Kyle," Shelby had said years earlier. "You are so patient." Kyle had been 20-something, new, eager. "I watched your template," he told me once. "Everyone thinks Shelby made it." "I know you did. I do not mind." I had answered, "Just do your job well." 2 months later, HR called me in. "We are restructuring," they had said. "Kyle will take the lead coordinator title. You will remain in a supporting role." Shelby had smiled at me in the hallway. "You are just better behind the scenes." "Marin." Behind the scenes meant invisible. "You have pushed out 3 senior coordinators in 6 years, Adrian Wolf said evenly. "All over the age of 50. All replaced with staff under 30. That is a coincidence." Shelby shot back. "They could not keep up." I heard another memory. "Do not worry, sweetheart. Shelby had told Jenna, the new hire. We will get the older ones to retire soon. Then you can really grow. Jenna had glanced at me, uncomfortable, but Marin just showed me how to fix the dock bottleneck. She is kind of a genius. Experience is not the same as innovation, Shelby had replied. Now, in that small conference room, I finally heard someone say my work out loud. She redesigned the routing matrix after the supply shortage. Adrian continued. She stabilized outbound during staff turnover. She carried 3 managers through their learning curve. Shelby's voice sharpened. You are taking her side without seeing the full picture. For 15 years, I had watched my name disappear from every full picture. I am looking at the numbers, not sides, he said. And the numbers have her name all over them, whether you liked it or not. I sat there, hearing my own history spoken by someone who had never stayed late with me, never shared a stale vending machine snack at midnight. For the first time, my years were not just years. They were evidence. Adrian's voice stayed steady. Shelby, your explanation does not match the data. It matches her performance, Shelby said. She has been slipping. The team has complained. What team? I asked before I could stop myself. Shelby's head snapped toward me. You would not know. Marin, you are hardly involved anymore. I am involved every day, I said. Every forecast, every reroute, every alert. That is the problem. She cut in. You cling to tasks you should have handed off years ago. You make everything slower. A dull pressure settled in my chest. You told me to keep them, I said. You said younger staff needed time before taking over. I said that to give you dignity, she replied. I could not tell you outright that your accuracy dropped. Adrian opened a folder. Her accuracy did not drop. It improved, and the reports you sent to upper management show the exact opposite. Shelby stiffened. Those reports were summaries. They were fabrications, he said. You revised her metrics before attaching them. I felt the room tilt. You changed my numbers. Shelby folded her arms. I corrected them. A supervisor has that authority. A soft knock came at the half-open door. Kyle stepped in, hesitant. Sorry. I heard my name earlier. Shelby glared at him. You are not needed. But he looked at me instead. Marin, I should tell you something. HR called me in last month. They said you were being reviewed for declining efficiency. They said Shelby submitted concerns. My mouth went dry. What concerns? He swallowed. They said you failed to meet forecasting targets for 3 cycles straight. He lowered his voice. But I checked the logs before they locked me out. You hit every single one, Shelby hissed. You checked what I told you. Not to. Kyle nodded. Because it was wrong. Adrian folded his hands. So the performance concern was manufactured. Shelby's jaw clenched. This is a misunderstanding. But the silence that followed said otherwise. Adrian stepped fully into the room, closing the door behind him with a quiet click that made Shelby straighten like she had been caught stealing. Let us reset, he said. Shelby, I would like to review the documentation you said supports this termination. Shelby lifted her chin. I have already submitted it. Then show me now, he replied. I want to understand your process. She hesitated. It is confidential. It concerns an employee's removal, he said. It is not confidential from me. Her fingers twitched. It is not organized yet. I watched him take in her answer without blinking. Then let us look at the performance logs instead. Shelby's voice sharpened. Those will not reflect the full picture. Kyle, still lingering near the doorway, whispered, They will. Adrian opened the system file on the conference laptop. These logs show 15 years of accuracy that never drops below 98%. They also show manual edits in the summaries you sent to upper leadership. Shelby jolted. Those edits were necessary. For whose benefit, he asked. She offered a thin smile that wobbled. Director Wolf. With respect. Marin has difficulty adapting. I did what was best for the team. He turned to me for the first time, his expression unreadable. Marin, would you mind explaining how your forecasting model really works? Shelby went still. She knew exactly what that question meant. I let out a slow breath. It is not complicated. I track variance patterns manually because the automated system misses the overnight anomalies. When a storm hits or a driver calls out, the model recalculates the line haul pressure in real time. That is why we do not lose outbound trucks during shortages. Adrian nodded. And who else understands this? No one, I said quietly. Shelby told me not to teach it. Shelby snapped. Because it is outdated. He studied her reaction. It looks more effective than anything currently in use. She blanched, and for the first time, she stepped back like the room had tilted against her. Adrian asked Kyle to step out, then turned back to me. Marin, can you give us a minute? My stomach dipped. Am I in trouble too? His tone softened. You are not the one I am concerned about. Shelby forced a laugh. This is unnecessary. I have already submitted everything to upper management. He ignored her and motioned toward the chair beside him. Sit, please. I sat. My hands would not stay still. Adrian opened a folder on his tablet. These are the unedited server logs. They show outbound accuracy, incident reports, response times. Your name is all over them. Shelby crossed her arms. Because I supervise her. That is the chain of command. He scrolled. Here is an email from the regional vice president, praising the overnight reroute during the fuel shortage last winter. He tilted the screen so I could see the subject line. It was addressed to you, Marin. My throat tightened. I never saw that. That is because it was forwarded, he said, from your inbox to Shelby's, then deleted. Shelby snapped. I answered on her behalf. That is what a good manager does. He opened another file. Monthly review summaries. This version is the one you sent to HR. Shelby? He read aloud. Marin struggles with new systems and requires hand-holding. I flinched. You wrote that about me. You do struggle, she shot back. You cling to old methods. That hurts the team. Adrian tapped again. Here is the draft pulled from the system cache. Same month, same review, before edits. It says, Marin independently stabilized the transition and trained junior staff. Different tone. Shelby's voice dropped. Those drafts are not official. They show a pattern, he replied, praising her in drafts, downgrading her before sending, forwarding her compliments to yourself, deleting the originals. Heat rose in my chest, pushing past shame. You used my work to climb, then called me dead weight. Shelby rolled her eyes. You are taking this personally. Adrian turned to me fully. Did you know she has been weaponizing your age? Marin. I stared at him. No, I thought I was just getting old. He shook his head. You have been targeted, not outdated. And this is not staying in this room. Adrian asked Shelby to step outside the conference room. I followed a few paces behind, my pulse loud in my ears. The hallway was busy voices, footsteps, phones ringing. No one expected a confrontation, least of all Shelby. Let us make this simple, Adrian said. These files show clear alterations. Shelby's jaw tightened. You are misinterpreting them. He held up the tablet. You downgraded her accuracy. You rewrote her summaries. You deleted praise that was meant for her. She needed supervision, Shelby said sharply. People her age slow everything down. The hallway went still. Conversations stopped mid-sentence. Heads turned. I felt my breath catch. Shelby didn't even blink, as if she had said something normal. Adrian's voice lowered. Say that again. She is slowing us down. Shelby repeated. Anyone can see that. Younger staff learn faster. They keep the pace. Marin does not. A few co-workers exchanged glances. One of them, Jenna, the timid new hire, took a small step forward. That is not true, she said. Marin helped me fix the manifest bottleneck last Tuesday. Shelby glared at her. Stay out of this. Jenna swallowed hard but didn't move. You told us not to ask her for help, she said. You said it would make her look like she was falling behind. A murmur rippled through the group gathering around us. Kyle stepped up beside her. You told me the same thing. You said the more she looked lost, the easier it would be to replace her. Shelby spun toward him. I never said that. You did, he replied. Twice. Adrian raised his voice just enough for everyone to hear. You manipulated your team to isolate her. You hid her work. You falsified her record. Shelby's bravado cracked. You are blowing this out of proportion. He stared at her without blinking. No, I am finally putting it in proportion. The hallway stayed silent as her mask slipped, inch by inch, in front of everyone who once feared her. Adrian escorted us straight into the executive conference room. Legal was already inside, along with 2 HR representatives. Shelby tried to step ahead of me, but Adrian blocked her with a quiet motion of his hand. We are addressing a termination that cannot proceed, he said. There are discrepancies in the documentation. Shelby's smile twitched. There are no discrepancies. Marin is simply struggling at her age. And I am doing what is best for the department. HR Director Lila Campos frowned. Shelby, age-based statements are inappropriate. We need evidence, not assumptions. I have evidence, Shelby insisted. She slows us down. She cannot keep up with new systems. Adrian opened a printed sheet. This is Marin Keaton's original KPI record for 15 years. Accuracy above 98%. 0 major forecasting errors. 0 operational breaches. Shelby blinked rapidly. Those numbers do not reflect the full picture. Then explain, he said. She tried. She hesitates. She second guesses. Her instincts are outdated. Legal counsel Marcus Eng looked up from his notes. Outdated instincts produced a flawless record for a decade and a half. Shelby's voice sharpened. Her age is the issue. Marcus cut her off. Say that again, and this discussion changes categories. HR Director Lila leaned forward. Shelby, we also pulled historical complaints. 3 senior employees over the age of 50 reported feeling pushed out under your management. Each file shows similar language to what you used about Marin. Shelby's eyes darted to the door. Those complaints were exaggerated. Lila continued. We have written statements describing pressure to make older staff look as though they were underperforming. These statements include your name. Shelby's voice cracked. That is not fair. They were not team players. Adrian placed the altered summaries on the table. You falsified performance records. You hid her achievements. And you tried to end her career to secure your own. Shelby's face drained of color. The decision was no longer drifting toward her. It was pulling away fast. HR Director Lila folded her hands on the table. We are issuing an immediate reversal of Marin Keaton's termination. Shelby's head snapped up. You cannot do that. I followed protocol. Marcus from legal shook his head. You violated protocol. Multiple times. Altering performance summaries is misconduct. Deleting praise directed to an employee is misconduct. Targeting older staff is discrimination. Shelby's voice thinned. You are taking her side without understanding the pressure I am under. Adrian stepped forward. Pressure does not give you the right to destroy someone's career. She pointed at me. She cannot keep up. That is the truth. Lila raised a hand. The truth is in the documentation. And the documentation shows you manufactured underperformance. Shelby's breath hitched. You are exaggerating. No, Marcus said. You are suspended effective immediately, pending a full investigation. Silence fell so hard it felt physical. Shelby's gaze bounced between the faces in the room, searching for an ally. None appeared. She backed toward the door, her voice breaking. You are making a mistake. Adrian opened the door for her. The only mistake was yours. When the door closed behind her, my body finally sagged into the chair. I felt strangely weightless, like I had been holding myself upright for 15 years and suddenly forgot how. Lila turned to me. Marin, You are reinstated in full. Your record will be corrected. HR will issue a formal apology. I nodded, unable to trust my voice. Adrian crouched beside my chair so I would not have to look up at him. You held this company together while others pretended they did, he said softly. It is time you were treated accordingly. My throat tightened. I just did my job. That is exactly why you deserve better, he said, and you will get it. The room shifted, for the first time. Everything tilted in my favor. Adrian asked me to step into his office the next morning. The door closed behind us with a soft click. Nothing like the slammed doors I had grown used to under Shelby's reign. Sit. Marin, he said, there is something I want to offer you. I sat slowly. If this is about the investigation, it is not. He leaned forward. This is about your future here. I swallowed. I only want to keep the job I already had. That job is too small for the work you have been doing, he said. You have been operating at a higher level for years. You built systems no one else on this floor understands. I looked down at my hands. I do not know if I can start over. I am not young anymore. He shook his head. Your experience is not antique. It is architecture. Everything that works in this building rests on it. My breath hitched, not from flattery, but from hearing something I had never once been told directly. Adrian slid a folder toward me. Senior Systems Advisor. Flexible schedule. Higher compensation. Full authority to redesign training and forecasting processes. This is not a symbolic title. It is the role you have effectively held for nearly a decade. I stared at the folder without touching it. What if the team does not take me seriously? They already do, he said. They were waiting for someone to say out loud what they knew. You were carrying this department long before I arrived. A quiet terror settled under my ribs. It is a lot. It is exactly your scale, he answered. I opened the folder. The position fit me not as a replacement for youth, but as a recognition of mastery. My voice came out small. I will accept. Adrian smiled. Good. Let us build something worthy of what you have held together for 15 years. For the first time, I felt the ground rise to meet me. 3 weeks later, I stepped into the same elevator where Shelby had called me an antique. A young woman rushed in at the last second, bag slipping off her shoulder. She bumped into me harder than I had bumped into Shelby. Oh my God, I am so sorry, she blurted. I should have waited for the next one. I did not mean no worries. I said, happens to all of us. She blinked. Really, you are not mad. I shook my head. What is your name, Alina? She said. I just started on outbound routing. I am trying not to mess everything up. You will be fine, I said. If you get stuck, come find me. Her eyes widened. You are Marin, right. People keep saying you are the one who knows how everything actually works. The elevator chimed. The doors slid open on our floor. Alina hesitated. Are you sure it is okay to ask you stuff my last manager told me not to bother senior staff? Said it made them look bad. That will not be a problem here. I said, if someone tells you that again, send them to me. She laughed nervously. Deal. We stepped into the hallway together. My phone buzzed. I glanced down at the screen. Email from HR. Subject line, final determination, Shelby Crane. I opened it while we walked. Shelby Crane has been terminated for misconduct and policy violations. The message read, she is barred from holding any management role within the company for a minimum of 5 years. Alina caught the edge of my expression. Bad news. Necessary news, I said. Adrian appeared at the corner, heading toward us. Morning. Marin, ready for the advisor session with training. Ready, I answered. He nodded at Alina. You in good hands? She smiled. They told me to learn from her. I am starting today. Adrian looked at me. Good. That is exactly the point. We reached my new office. The plaque on the door read Marin Keaton, Senior Systems Advisor. Alina stared at it. That is pretty amazing. It is accurate, Adrian said. I laid my hand briefly against the door, then opened it. Come on, I told Alina. Let us get to work.